In the autumn of 2025, a crisis erupted that sent shockwaves through the global technology and automotive sectors. At the heart of this storm was Nexperia, a company with deep Dutch roots but owned by China's Wingtech technology. For years, Nexperia had quietly powered the world's electronics, but now it found itself thrust into the international spotlight, caught between the world's two largest superpowers. The Dutch government made a dramatic move, seizing control of Nexperia. Officials cited urgent national security concerns, pointing to the growing tensions between the United States and China over advanced technology. The decision was not made lightly. It was the culmination of months of heated debate, public protests, and mounting pressure from international allies. While Nexperia may not be a household name like Intel or Samsung, its semiconductors are the unsung heroes inside countless devices. From smartphones and laptops to the complex electronics that keep modern cars running, Nexperia's chips are everywhere. The company's products are essential, forming the backbone of both consumer electronics and critical infrastructure. The United States had already blacklisted Wingtech, Nexperia's parent company, as part of a broader campaign to limit China's access to advanced technology. American officials urged their European allies, especially the Netherlands, to take similar action, warning of the risks posed by foreign control over key tech assets. This left the Dutch government facing a profound dilemma. Should they align with US security concerns and risk damaging relations with China? Or should they protect one of Europe's most important tech players and safeguard thousands of local jobs? The debate raged in Parliament, with politicians, business leaders and citizens all weighing in on the future of Nexperia. Ultimately, the decision to intervene was a high-stakes gamble. The government had to balance national security, economic stability, and the interests of its own tech industry. The move sent ripples through financial markets and raised questions about the future of European technology independence. China's response was swift and forceful. Beijing condemned the Dutch action, warning of severe economic consequences and hinting at possible retaliatory measures. The crisis quickly escalated, drawing in other nations and threatening to disrupt the delicate balance of global trade. The situation exposed just how fragile global supply chains had become. With factories at risk of shutting down and shipments delayed, companies around the world scrambled to secure alternative sources for critical components. The specter of economic warfare loomed large as nations realized how interconnected and vulnerable their economies truly were. Nexperia's pivotal role in the automotive industry made the crisis even more acute. Modern vehicles rely on hundreds of semiconductors, and any disruption threatened to halt production lines, delay deliveries, and drive up prices for consumers. The company had become a critical link in a supply chain already stretched to its limits. The Dutch government's bold move was more than just a national decision. It was a high-stakes attempt to navigate the treacherous waters of superpower rivalry. As the world watched, the fate of Nexperia became a symbol of the broader struggle for control over the technologies that will shape the future. The Dutch government's control of Nexperia was a bold move under a WW2E-era law. This law, originally designed to protect the nation during times of war, was now being used to safeguard critical technology in an era of global competition. The decision was not made lightly, as it involved significant economic and political considerations. This soft nationalization aimed to protect critical tech know-how and economic security. By taking control, the Dutch government hoped to prevent sensitive technologies from falling into potentially adversarial hands, ensuring that the nation's technological edge remained intact. Dutch officials feared Chinese control could disrupt European industries. The potential for supply chain interruptions and the loss of technological secrets to a foreign power were significant concerns. The automotive and electronics sectors, in particular, were seen as vulnerable to such disruptions, or divert tech for military use. The implications of advanced semiconductor technology being used in military applications by a foreign power were too great to ignore. This was not just about economic security, but also about national defense. The intervention sought to stabilize Nexperia. By ensuring that the company remained under Dutch control, the government aimed to maintain stability in the semiconductor industry, which is crucial for numerous other sectors, and protect its workforce and technology. The livelihoods of thousands of employees and the integrity of cutting-edge research and development were at stake. The government's move was as much about people as it was about technology. However, the move risked provoking a strong reaction from Beijing. China, being a major player in the global tech industry, was unlikely to take such an intervention lightly. Diplomatic tensions were expected to rise as a result. Nexperia's operations were split, with key facilities in the Netherlands and China. This international footprint made the situation even more complex, as it involved navigating the interests and regulations of multiple countries. This geographical split created vulnerabilities, setting the stage for China's response. The interconnected nature of global supply chains meant that any action taken in one country could have ripple effects across the world. The Dutch action was a statement on the limits of economic liberalism and tech competition. It highlighted the need for strategic thinking in an era where technology and national security are increasingly intertwined. The situation underscored the complexities of managing strategic assets across geopolitical divides. As nations grapple with the challenges of globalization, the balance between open markets and national security becomes ever more delicate. China's swift retaliation to the Dutch move was a chip export embargo. This embargo targeted Nexperia's automotive-grade chips, crucial for Europe's auto industry. The move highlighted Europe's dependency on China for manufacturing. China aimed to make an example of the Netherlands, warning other nations. The embargo was a strategic power play leveraging China's supply chain dominance. It demonstrated China's ability to project power economically, not just militarily. The chip embargo hit the global auto industry hard, halting production lines. Major automakers like Volkswagen and Stellantis faced significant disruptions. The crisis spread globally, affecting plants in Mexico and beyond. Automakers scrambled to find alternatives, but the specialized chips were irreplaceable. Nexperia's chips, though small in market share, were vital in volume. The crisis exposed the auto industry's vulnerability to supply chain disruptions. The Nexperia crisis sent shockwaves through European economies, putting the livelihoods of countless workers at risk and exposing vulnerabilities that had long been overlooked. As news of the crisis spread, uncertainty rippled across industries, from manufacturing to finance, leaving many to wonder how deep the impact would go. The auto industry, a cornerstone of European employment and a symbol of industrial strength, faced the grim prospect of mass layoffs. Assembly lines slowed, and the hum of production was replaced by anxious conversations among workers worried about their futures. For many families, the threat of job loss was not just a statistic, it was a looming reality. The supply chain impact was severe and far-reaching, disrupting not only large manufacturers but also countless smaller firms and adjacent industries. Suppliers struggled to fulfill orders, logistics companies faced delays, and the ripple effect extended to local businesses that depended on the steady flow of goods and materials. In response, trade unions mobilized quickly, demanding swift and decisive government action to resolve the crisis. Workers took to the streets, voicing their concerns, and calling for policies that would protect jobs and stabilize the economy. The sense of urgency was palpable, as communities rallied together in hopes of finding solutions. The situation highlighted a fundamental paradox of globalization. While interconnected supply chains brought efficiency and lower costs, they also introduced fragility, making entire economies vulnerable to disruptions far beyond their borders. The crisis forced leaders to confront the delicate balance between global integration and national resilience. As trust in global trade was shaken, business leaders and policymakers began to reevaluate their sourcing strategies. Boardrooms buzzed with urgent discussions about risk management, diversification, and the need to build more robust supply networks that could withstand future shocks. Many businesses considered onshoring, bringing production back home, to reduce dependency on geopolitical rivals and regain control over critical supply chains. This shift was seen as a way to safeguard jobs and ensure greater economic security, even if it meant higher costs. However, the transition was not without challenges. Onshoring promised more security, but it also meant higher consumer prices and complex logistical changes. Families and workers braced for a period of adjustment, knowing that the path to stability would require sacrifice and adaptation. Ultimately, the Nexperia crisis served as a harsh lesson in the true cost of global dependency. It underscored the urgent need for resilience, adaptability, and forward-thinking strategies to protect workers, economies, and the future of global supply chains. Inside Nexperia, a corporate battle unfolded amid the geopolitical storm. The Dutch intervention created a rift between Nexperia's European HQ and Chinese parent, a Dutch court ousted Nexperia's Chinese CEO, escalating tensions with Beijing. Nexperia's Chinese unit suspended shipments, further complicating the crisis. The internal conflict raised doubts about chip quality and trustworthiness. Customers faced a dilemma. Could they trust Nexperia's products? The internal strife paralyzed Nexperia, showcasing risks of divided corporate control. Europe scrambled for a diplomatic solution to the deepening crisis. A breakthrough came from high-level meetings between US and Chinese leaders. China agreed to ease the export ban, providing a diplomatic off-ramp. The agreement required guarantees of civilian end use for the chips. This resolution highlighted China's power to dictate terms. By mid-November, signs of recovery appeared as chip imports resumed. The crisis resolution felt more like a surrender than a victory. Europe had to soften its stance to restore the disrupted supply chain. The situation underscored the challenges of negotiating from a position of weakness. The Nexperia crisis was a wake-up call for Europe's economic vulnerabilities. It exposed the risks of economic interdependence and strategic autonomy illusions. Europe realized the need for control over the entire supply chain. The crisis prompted a re-evaluation of dependencies and supply chain strategies. Initiatives like the European Chips Act gained urgency and purpose. Europe aimed to build resilient, localized tech capabilities. The crisis was a lesson in 21st-century power dynamics and economic statecraft. Europe's path forward required investment in technological capacity and diversified supply chains.